right, so wanted to come and talk to you today about how water could potentially be hurting your fertility and your wellness. Yeah, I know. You're probably hearing all the time, drink more water, and you should. However, there are some things that you should know about water that could actually potentially be harming your fertility. And so, really, basically, what is water? We all know that water is like 70% of the earth and 70% of what makes us who we are. But really, what water is an awesome solvent. And fancy term just means that it dissolves things really well and holds those things in suspension. It holds and carries things away. That's why it's good for us to have a lot of water in our system. It's a pretty awesome liquid because it's unique in that it does things that other liquids won't do. Like it floats when it is solid versus everything else sinks when it gets colder and other fun stuff like that. But what I also wanted to point out to you is because it's such an awesome solvent, it could also be carrying something into your system that is blocking your fertility. If you're like me, when we found out that plastic bottles had this thing called bisphenol A, and then we heard that there's something called bisphenol or BPA-free bottles, you're like, yes! And we all ran out there and got it. I got it too. See, I have my own. And then I discovered that the bisphenol A, which is a chemical that is used to make this plastic actually stretch and all those kind of things, was replaced with bisphenol S. And the chemicals are very, very similar, which also means that the effects on the system are very similar. And some of those effects, depending on who's drinking it. So if you're a child drinking it, it can mess with your nerves, mess with your brain development, depending on where in your life cycle you are in drinking the water that was in a bisphenol container, whether A or S, it doesn't matter. For women who are preparing to have children, it jacks up the hormones. Ain't nobody got time for that. Jacked up hormones, we got enough to worry about. We don't need any outside intrusion with that, do we? So overall, if it's in a plastic container, there is no safe way around it per se. And so what I transitioned to is I went old school, went back to good old glass. And so I actually take this glass container and I particularly go over to Whole Foods and fill up my water bottle and just cap it off. And it's in glass. When I'm drinking at home or out in the street, most people are like, what's that, moonshine? I usually am carrying around a mason jar with the water that I want for the day. Now, everything is all about balance. If I run out of water and I'm out in the streets and I'm thirsty, I'm not going to not drink water. I'm going to get the next best thing, which is if they have a glass jar of water, some companies sell it in glass, then I drink that. But if there's only plastic bottled water and I'm thirsty, guess what? My body needs water. So I'd rather have water that might have some of the disruptors in it, the hormone disruptors in it, and be hydrated versus dehydrated, because then the enzymes, remember if you watched the video that I posted yesterday, my workers don't work. So at least give them some tools versus no tools. Does that make sense? So again, water is awesome for you to be drinking, but you want to make sure that the container you have the water in is working for you and not against you. So if you're using these things called BPA-free bottles, I'm sorry. Don't be mad at me. Don't shoot the messenger. Don't come looking for me. You can look it up yourself. Bisphenol S is the replacing agent in it, which is also disrupting the hormones. And your hormones are basically the messengers in your body. So if the messengers are confused because of disruptors, then who they're sending the message to is also going to get a confused message. And again, ain't nobody got time for that. We have enough things to deal with, especially if you're a woman with a lot of the different hormones, or even if you're a man. Stay away from that kind of stuff, okay? So your glass would be your best option. If you're not into mason jars, there are glass containers that are really fancy now, and they're wrapped in like silicone so that it doesn't crack. Or you can get a stainless steel container. Make sure it's stainless steel and not aluminum, because aluminum has its own issues, and I won't get into that in this video. But you want to make sure glass or stainless steel. That's it. Those are your 1 and 2s. And if you're thirsty and don't have access, then drink what's available. Make sense? All right. So again, I'm Janelle Lewis, the Legacies of Health founder and the preconception doula. And if any of what I said resonates with you and you are either preparing to have a baby or you're interested in preserving or preventing any disruption in your hormones or in your fertility, then feel free to reach out to me on Facebook. You can inbox me and we can have a chat, because I'm definitely here to serve and help people like you. This is the work that I do, and I'm really excited about helping more people. So, with that said, I'll see you next time. Be well.